Hey everybody, it is Rick. We're here with my top 10 of 2021. Some honorable mentions here. If you guys did not watch my Hot Trash of 2021 video, like I mentioned, things are going to be a little different this year. And I want to mention it in this video as well if you did not watch Hot Trash. So first off, thank you to everybody who watched the massive collection that I bought video. As of the day I'm recording this, January 23rd, it has over 1,600 views. I've sold quite a bit from it, so thank you to everybody who bought from me. Thank you to everybody who watched it, especially the whole thing, as it was an hour and 20 minutes. I will have more videos like that coming to the channel. I actually just bought and received yesterday 3 boxes of sealed DVDs, Blu-rays, and 4Ks. I'm going to do the same thing with that stuff in the future. I have a massive video game movie dome haul that will be a standalone video. From that massive collection, I kept... let's see, we got 5, 10, 15, about 40 titles, and that some might be an upgrade to Steelbooks, some might be an upgrade for the slipcover. So stay tuned for that video. I also have my all of my January pickups coming soon. My AEW Loot Crate video will drop the week I go to see AEW in Atlantic City, so stay tuned for that. Review videos still coming every week. The other thing I'm doing is the next video that'll drop either next or after the following review video, not quite sure how I'm dropping these, is a list of all the movies from 2021 that I want to see that I have not seen yet. The reason I'm doing that is I hope I can get help from you guys. What movies I should push up on my to-watch list, what movies I should push down. Because like I said, there's 94 films on that list. And I'm not quite sure how I'm going to film that. I'll probably just list them off and have the posters flash next to me for everything. It's going to be a lot of work, but I think it'll be a cool idea for a video. I'm also going to be doing a 2021 TV series I watched video, which is different for this channel. So if that works out well, I might also implement like a monthly or bi-monthly TV series I've watched series, so I don't have to do a video with everything I watched for the whole year. But you guys are here to hear me talk about my favorite films from 2021. I have a top 10 here, 5 honorable mentions. The first thing I want to mention is I watched 116 2021 releases. I use the release date where these are available wide in the US. That's how I do it. So if a movie is on a festival circuit in 2019 or 2020 and it doesn't come to be available, whether on streaming or limited theatrical in the US, that's the year I use. Because I'm not going to any festivals. I'm not going to count that on a previous year's list because I don't have access to it. That's how I personally do it. Some people do it different. Respect to them. But that's how I choose to do it. We're going to dive right in. This is a bit different. A lot of times when I do my top movies of the year list, I own most of the stuff on physical media. I only own 5 of my top 10 on physical, and last year was a little different because of all the streaming stuff with lockdown and whatnot. But I only own 5 of the titles, and that's because 4 of them are not available on physical media as of the recording of this. 1 movie is a streaming movie out of the top 10. And then I own 2 of the 5 honorable mentions. One of which is a streaming. One of which is not available on physical, but I believe I'll be getting a review copy of. And the other one I actually owned or rented from Amazon, I want to say. But we'll get into that shortly. So let's dive right in with my honorable mentions. The first one, and this is a movie... There's going to be multiple movies in this video I have not spoken about on review videos, as far as I know, depending on when I drop this, which I think will be the near future. And the first one is a documentary. This movie I was really excited about. I was actually sent a review screener of this a few months ago, and just things got chaotic. I wasn't able to watch it, and I'm mad that I didn't get to watch it sooner because this movie is fantastic. You guys know I'm a massive fan of this director. And that is Clerk. It's a documentary about Kevin Smith, directed by Malcolm Ingram, who is a friend of Kevin Smith's, put out by 1091 Pictures, and this came out MVD visual. I think this is available on hamiltonbook.com. I got mine from Amazon, I think for $12.99 with free shipping. You guys know I try to own everything Kevin Smith has done. There's a few Blu-rays and DVDs of his I need, like Too Fat for 40 on Blu-ray, which was a Q&A he did, and there's some DVDs of Q&As with him and Jason Mewes that I need to get my hands on. But I own all the Evening Withs. I own his Silent But Deadly stand-up special on Blu-ray that he had his heart attack right after that almost killed him. This movie, as a Kevin Smith fan, this was hard for me to not put in my top 10, but I wanted to kind of have the top 10 be all movies and no documentaries, so that's why I kind of pushed this down. If you guys are Kevin Smith fans, check this movie out. I think you'll really enjoy it. It pretty much goes through him as a kid up through Reboot. Like, it is pretty much everything he has done up until like 2020, essentially. Some really cool footage, lots of fun interviews, lots of people he's worked with in interviews, and I just really loved it. Stan Lee did an interview before he had passed away that's in this. It's just so well done. I will definitely be watching this again. Like I said, it made me teary-eyed in parts. Kevin Smith is one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. His work just really resonates with me, and I really enjoyed this. So my first honorable mention of the year, Clerk, a documentary. Check it out, guys. I really, really do recommend it. I'm trying to remember. The K is from Clerks. The R is from Mallrats. The L looks like it's from a hockey jersey. The E looks like it's from the store in Yoga Hosers. I don't know what the C is from. Do you guys know? The R is definitely from Mallrats and the K is definitely from Clerks. But what are the C, L, and the E from? Let me know in comments down below if you guys know. Next up was a film that we watched on HBO Max. A movie that I will be getting a review copy of in the near future, and that is King Richard, starring Will Smith, about Richard Williams, Venus and Serena's dad. Talks about Venus and Serena as kids, what he did as a father to instill just working hard and not being given handouts and earning your money, and it's just a really well done biopic. The only thing I had a gripe with was the ending, but once again, the movie was already like 2 hours and 25 minutes. And this is a perfect example of a longer movie that I would have even taken another half an hour of just to see a little more of what happens. But you have to stop it at some point. Like I said, the focus is primarily on Venus. Serena's in it quite a bit too, but primarily on Venus and Richard Williams. And he had, I want to say they had 4 daughters or 5 daughters, and what he did to make ends meet, and his wife did to make ends meet, and train his daughters to, you know, become the next Michael Jordan of tennis, essentially, which is a reoccurring thing they talk about in the film. And just a really well done movie. I don't know why I said thing. Will Smith, excellent as Richard Williams in the film, and just one I definitely recommend checking out. Like I said, I'm getting a review copy, excited to revisit it. So next up is a movie that we watched. We rented on Amazon. It was one that we wanted to see around Oscar time and just couldn't get our hands on it. It's a film called Minari, which stars Steven Yeun, and it's about a 1980s Asian family, and they're working at a chicken factory, they're working at a factory, and he wants to start his own farm, and the hardships and what they go through with that. Just a really, just like an American dream film with immigrants, and it just really, really was a beautiful movie. It looked beautiful. Some really great performances. I remember the little boy and the grandmom had a really good relationship in the film that was enjoyable to watch. The movie almost reminds me of something that's in my top 10 list, pretty high up my top 10 list, a little tease there, that similar vibes to an extent, but we'll get into that. Next honorable mention I have here physically, and this movie is just a blast. I want to say we watched this, we see this twice in theaters. We saw it twice because Bridget and I went, and then we wanted to take RJ to see it because we enjoyed it so much. And as a film, Free Guy. Here's the 4K of it. Ryan Reynolds, Lil Rel Howery, Jodie Comer, Taika Waititi, and it's about a video game, and he is a NPG, right? Or NPC, non-playable character, I want to say. It's the terminology, NPC. And, you know, it's basically what he goes through in his daily life and decides that he doesn't want to just do the same thing over and over. It's a really fun flick. There's rumors that there will be a sequel, which I'm fine with. I think it would be a fun time. This was a 20th Century Studios film that Disney ended up putting out. Really fun promotion with it, with Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool and Taika Waititi as Korg, reprising his character from the Thor film, Ragnarok, and Ryan Reynolds obviously reprising Deadpool. Really fun movie. This ended up just being right outside my top 10, along with the Hulu film that snuck right outside. Probably my favorite, yeah, I would say one of my favorite R-rated comedies of the year. Pretty much my favorite like R-rated sex comedy of the year. And that is Plan B, a movie about two girls, and one girl hasn't really gotten to live her like best high school life and gotten to party and whatnot. She ends up hooking up at a party without using protection in a very awkward, uncomfortable scene. And because she's underage, where they live, she can't get Plan B, and it's a small town, so they have to find a place that she can get Plan B pill. Hot tea. And so a bit of a controversial topic, but really fun, in my opinion. The movie's really fun, not the topic. There was another movie that was on HBO Max called Unpregnant. Similar vibes, but this one was played more for laughs, and I really enjoyed it quite a bit. And a lot of people don't know about it. So Plan B, if you have Hulu, check it out. I think you'll enjoy it quite a bit. I thought it was a pretty fun film. Now it's time to get into that top 10, guys. My top 10 favorite movies of the year. Number 10, Last Night in Soho. Recently came out this past week on physical. I'm waiting to secure a copy on 4K. I think Pam is trying to get it for me. And I will eventually get it on 4K, because this movie, not only did it look beautiful, it has one of the better soundtracks of recent memory. Directed by Edgar Wright, who last did Baby Driver, and as you guys know, huge Baby Driver fan. A movie where the soundtrack basically becomes a character in the movie. This movie does the same. A very great soundtrack. A love letter to 1960s London and UK. Lots of fashion that almost Cruella vibes, but in a different type of movie. The fashion in Cruella was awesome and had a lot of good music as well. Just a really, really fun film. Great performances by Anya Taylor-Joy and the other girl. I want to say, Mackenzie. Can I pull her name? It's not Mackenzie Davis. The lead girl was really good. I cannot remember her name for the life of me. About a girl who's going to London to go to fashion school. And she stays in this house after she doesn't really mesh well with her roommates and people she's in school with. And she stays at this old house with an older woman. And there's rules in place. And she goes out at night and has these fantasies. And it's really, really interesting. It was really well done. It looked great. It was a fun, like, mystery. Just a different type of movie for Edgar Wright, who's done stuff like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, World's End. Like, his movies have been consistently really good. I really enjoyed his filmography, and this movie was no different. Last Night in Soho gets in the 10th spot for me. Number 9 is the only streaming movie, technically. We'll talk about that in a second. Number 9 is a streaming exclusive film that does not have a physical release. As of right now, hopefully it will get one, because I'd love to add it to my collection. And it's a movie that probably out of everything on my list, except for one, was the most unexpected. And that is a film called Tick, Tick, Boom, which is about Jonathan Larson. Jonathan Larson is a musical writer, a performer. He ended up writing Rent, Tick, Tick, Boom. So this is a story about a musical he's been working on for years, trying to get it written so he can get it on Broadway. And he's a waiter, and there's lots of, if you're a fan of Broadway, you will love this film. There's lots of references to Broadway. I had to do a lot of Googling afterwards because there was stuff that went over my head. Lin-Manuel Miranda directed this film. I know Jonathan Larson was a very important person in Lin-Manuel's coming up in the Broadway world. It's a love letter to Stephen Sondheim, who we actually watched this not too long after Sondheim passed away. And just a really, really well done film. Andrew Garfield is amazing as Jonathan Larson. He gives a fantastic performance in the movie. And Tick, Tick, Boom gets my number 9 spot. Number 8, this one, like I said, technically a streamer, but was awesome. They got a physical media release. This was out on Netflix and is definitely my favorite animated film of the year. And that is The Mitchells vs. the Machines. This movie was absolutely hilarious. I laughed out loud in multiple parts of this movie. This being my physical release I recently got. You guys haven't even seen this in a video yet. So that's pretty cool. You haven't seen this yet. So The Mitchells vs. the Machines, just a really, really fun film. I really enjoyed this. A great voice cast in this movie. You have Danny McBride, Abby Jacobson, Maya Rudolph, Eric Andre, Olivia Colman. Olivia Colman, she's been really crushing it in recent memory. The last couple years. And this was just so much fun. I need to revisit this one soon. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, tons of laughs. I was laughing out loud throughout a lot of this movie. So Mitchells vs. Machines, number 8. Number 7, I also have here. So the number 7 film, this was an HBO Max available film, and then got this from Warner Brothers to review, as it was one of my favorites of the year, and that is Judas and the Black Messiah. I want to say this won a few Oscars, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say, did this win Oscars? I know Daniel Kaluuya was nominated, and so was Lakeith Stanfield. This is a true story about Lakeith Stanfield, who plays a thief who turns into an FBI informant, and he joins the Illinois Black Panthers, who's headed by Fred Hampton, who's played by Daniel Kaluuya. And this is actually tied to my favorite movie from 2020, The Trial of the Chicago 7. It took me a little bit to realize that, but when that hit, I enjoyed this so much more, honestly. And this features just amazing performances by the two leads, Lakeith Stanfield and Daniel Kaluuya. Just a really powerful film, and just really, really well done. Definitely not for the faint of heart. This is not a light movie at all to watch. This is a pretty tough watch for sure, but just a movie that's great and offers great performances and a great story, an important part of our history. Judas and the Black Messiah, number 7 on my favorite films of the year. Number 6, another HBO Max day and date that came to physical media. I actually have quite a few of those in this pile. Warner Brothers really killed it this year, along with HBO Max getting lucky. But they also had some stuff on my worst of the year, hot trash. But these movies I enjoyed quite a bit. Number 6, In the Heights, which was based on the Lin-Manuel Miranda musical Broadway play. This wasn't directed by him, but obviously the play, it was directed by John Chu, who did Crazy Rich Asians, and the concept was by Lin-Manuel Miranda. He also has a small part. He produced it. The music in this was absolutely fantastic. It was a beautiful movie. I was so excited to grab this on 4K from Warner Brothers to review, because this movie is absolutely gorgeous and just a really, really well done musical. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I was also a fan of Hamilton, so Lin-Manuel's music really resonates with me personally. I really enjoyed Encanto's music, and he did all the music in that. So I'm a sucker for Lin-Manuel's music. He directed Tick, Tick, Boom, so I guess I'm just a mark for Lin-Manuel Miranda. I'm a big fan, And no different here with my number 6 movie, In the Heights. Just a beautiful musical, a celebration of Latin heritage, and well done. So number 6, In the Heights. Number 5 is not yet available on physical media, but I will be getting a copy on 4K when it comes out. A movie that made me laugh, a movie that pulled at my heartstrings, and that is Ghostbusters Afterlife. Was such a big fan of this movie. They did such a well done job tying in Ghostbusters lore, minus the 2016 one, was pretty much just erased from memory. Love for the past Ghostbusters. I wish Rick Moranis signed on to the film. He did not. But love for the past Ghostbusters. Love to the Ghostbuster who's no longer with us. Just a very, very well done movie. The young cast in this film absolutely crushes it. From Podcast to the main character girl, Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things. I don't know if that's his name. Finn Wittrock? No, it's Finn Wolfhard. Finn Wittrock is the other. He's from American Horror Story. But yeah, Ghostbusters Afterlife, so good. Paul Rudd's in it. Carrie Coon is in it. Just a very, very fun watch. And one that definitely I am so excited to revisit on 4K. I loved it so much. It was such a fun time at the movies. And was definitely excited to finally get to see it. So number 5, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Speaking of fun movies, this one was a day and date. This is the last day and date Warner Brothers HBO Max movie, and this was a blast, and that is The Suicide Squad, my number 4 film of the year. This movie is R-rated and just so much fun. You have John Cena as Peacemaker, who I need to watch the show. I've heard so much good stuff. Yet Harley Quinn is played by Margot Robbie again. You get Idris Elba. You get Nathan Fillion, Pete Davidson, Michael Rooker. There's so many familiar faces in this movie, and this movie is just such a good time. It is R-rated. It is violent. It is profane. It is just a fun. Sylvester Stallone, Viola Davis, Joel Kinnaman, Jai Courtney. Just a really fun time. I haven't watched the other Suicide Squad in quite a bit. I know I was very disappointed with the villain in that movie, but enjoyed the Suicide Squad characters. I really enjoyed Will Smith as Deadeye, Jai Courtney as Boomerang. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn is obviously a lot of fun, and this movie introduced so many new characters. It was just a really, really good time to watch. And just a very fun movie. So Suicide Squad is my number 4 of 2021. Number 3 is another superhero movie, and the last superhero movie on the list. Only 2 this year. Wasn't a big fan of a lot of what Marvel had to offer until their last one, which is Spider-Man No Way Home. Man, the quintessential Spider-Man film, I believe. Probably my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time. It's so tough to still talk about this movie without getting into spoilers, but the perfect wrap-up on Spider-Man films, and just so well done. Once again, laughs, pulling at the heartstrings, action, 2 hour and 30 or 40 minute movie that just felt like it breezed by. Great action set pieces, lots of heart. I'm so excited to see. I hope Tom Holland comes back as Spider-Man. Zendaya is also great as his MJ, and it's just such a fun movie, and that's without all the surprises that are involved in the film, and just it's so much fun at the movies, and that is why it is my number 3 of 2021. My number 2 of 2021, the opposite end of the spectrum, not necessarily a fun movie, but a fantastic film. One that I've been trying to push very hard that you guys need to check out. And that is a film called Blue Bayou, which stars Justin Shawn and Alicia Vikander. Justin Shawn wrote, directed, produced, and starred in this film. I think he produced. He definitely wrote and directed it. Wrote, directed, and starring. He did not produce it. This is a movie about a how do I do? So Justin Chon plays Antonio LeBlanc, who was a Korean adoptee. He's lived in America his entire life, pretty much. He's grown up in a small town on the Louisiana Bayou. He's married to the love of his life, played by Alicia Vikander. Takes in her daughter. He becomes her stepdad. He loves the daughter so much. And there's an incident that occurs, and they try to... it turns out that the proper papers weren't filled out, and he is an illegal immigrant. So ICE gets involved, and he fights to stay in the country. I mean, he's been in the country pretty much his entire life. It's the only place he's ever called home, so he needs to fight to stay at home. And this movie will pull at your heartstrings. I was in tears by the end of this film. And it features beautiful performances, especially from Justin Chon, Alicia Vikander, and the little girl who... I should have wrote her name down. Oh, it's Vondi Curtis Hall is the little girl in this movie. And she gives an absolutely great performance as the young girl Jessie. So this is a movie I really recommend. It made me very emotional, so it will definitely pull at the heartstrings. It is not a light watch, but just a very, very well done film. Blue Bayou is my number 2 film of the year. Number 1, I sadly do not own because it is not out on physical, but this will be a day 1 purchase for me. I might not even wait till I get it cheaper. I might buy it just day 1, although I'm a bit bummed it's not coming to 4K. It's only coming to Blu-ray, and that is Paul Thomas Anderson's Licorice Pizza, starring Philip Seymour Hoffman's son, Cooper Hoffman, in his first role. Alana, I want to say it's Alana Haim, from the band Haim, the sister group Haim. Her sisters are also in the film. Bradley Cooper gives an awesome performance. This is a movie I haven't reviewed yet for the channel. This movie was amazing. It is a movie about young love. It is a coming-of-age story, which is my kryptonite. I love coming-of-age films. It's also a love letter to old Hollywood in a way. Bradley Cooper's scenes in this movie are absolutely fantastic. Sean Penn has a small role in the movie, and it looks great. It has that old 70s vibe to it. Feels very much like Boogie Nights in ways, another movie he directed. Has made me want to go back and really dig into the Paul Thomas Anderson's movies I have not seen. Just a film I really, really enjoyed. I loved the look of it. I loved the characters. It had me laughing. It has a lot of heart. And just, God, I really enjoy it. And fun fact, I learned this through some research, that Licorice Pizza was the name of a record store chain in the 70s and 80s. And if you watch the opening credits to Fast Times at Ridgemont High, hopefully I remember to insert the picture here. Licorice Pizza is in the background of a shot of Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which I did not know. And kind of a cool tie, because Licorice Pizza, when I heard the name, I said, well, that is the most ridiculous name for a movie I've ever heard. And I found out it was tied to a record store, which was a bit of a throwback to the 70s and 80s. And I think it was like a West Coast-based company too. So not something I was ever familiar with, but a fun fact nonetheless. Licorice Pizza. Loved it. It was my number 1 film of the year. Definitely excited to revisit it when it comes to physical. That is it, guys. That is my Those are my top films of 2021, my favorites. Thank you for watching as always. Check out the description box down below where you can find links to my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, where I rate and review all the movies I watch. I'll also continue to update my 2021 movies ranked list. My future video will have 94 movies that I want to see from this year. Please give feedback on that video. Let me know what I should push up to the top of the list to check out from last year, stuff I didn't get to watch yet. So thank you guys for watching. As always, until next time, who's down to movie?